Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here for Wednesday, June 12th. Before we get into the leans for today, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up picking up one of the fastest losses of our career on the show with the Yankees score first against the Mets in Game 2, and Paxton, who came in, as I said before, with a .34 ERA at home, ended up giving up 3 runs in the first inning due to a Pete Alonso home run. So we ended up getting the loss there. Yankees got killed. If you had them on the money line, like minus 200 or so, that's definitely a painful way to lose. Minus 110, we saw value, didn't work out. But with that being said, we have an extended sports card today, as we actually have one of the rare winner go home games in a championship series, as we have the Boston Bruins taking on the St. Louis Blues in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. So I will start out there with my leans. In terms of the game itself, Boston did win Game 6. I thought they would, to push this to a Game 7. For me, this might sound kind of bold because it's hockey and anything could happen. I don't see how Boston loses this game to me. St. Louis had a chance to win at home ice. They got absolutely destroyed. You also had the St. Louis newspapers that leaked to them winning the championship before it actually happened, which, according to some Bruins players, fired them up. You know Boston's going to be losing their mind in there for Game 7, and I still think Boston's the better team. Money has come in on Boston, open up at minus 175, and the money line up to roughly minus 180 in most spots. Total is at 5.5, with heavy juice to the under. In terms of this game, I have to lean to the over, and I have to lean to the Bruins. My main lean, though, will be on the Bruins in regulation, which is available at minus 102 on 5 dimes. For me, as much, I'm hoping I'm wrong on that, because I would love to see an overtime Game 7 for a title, and I've not seen that since. I mean, the last overtime game winner I can remember was Alec Martinez, but that was Game 5. That wasn't even Game 7. So other than that, I mean, overall, I would love to see an overtime Game 7. But realistically, I think the Bruins are going to smack the Blues tonight. I think that the Blues had their chances. They blew the game at home. And I think that Bennington is a solid goalie. But once the Bruins actually pepper him with shots on net, he becomes very, very suspect. And I definitely think Rask is the better goalie in this game. For me, I also think that St. Louis, going for cheap shots at the end of Game 6 will do nothing but fire up the Bruins. I thought that was relatively stupid. So for me, I think the Bruins are going to win this game pretty easily. I think the Bruins will win this game somewhere in the realm of 4-2, 4-1, something along those lines. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this game's competitive, but I honestly don't see it. I think that the Bruins will win this game, and I think the Blues will continue their legacy of failure in spectacular fashion after losing Game 6 and Game 7. So those are my thoughts on that game. Moving on to the baseball card. 4 o'clock game, you have the Red Sox versus the Rangers with Porcello versus Lynn. Rangers won yesterday as the Red Sox tried to send out one of their top pitching prospects, who ended up walking, I believe it was 5 guys in 3 innings. He had 7 strikeouts of that, but he did not pitch well, and then the Red Sox bullpen was terrible. In terms of this game itself, I would have to lean to the Rangers and the over 9.5. Lynn's pitched well lately. Porcello's been okay. The Red Sox have not played well, and I simply just don't think the Red Sox should be a minus 156 favorite here. So for me, for value, I'll lean to the Rangers. Moving on, you have the Diamondbacks versus the Phillies with Kelly versus Eflin. Money's poured in on the Diamondbacks. Phillies open minus 147, down to minus 124. Still leaning in the Diamondbacks there. I know the Phillies won yesterday, but I do like Kelly. I think Eflin's been okay this season, but the Diamondbacks have been the better team lately. So I will still lean to the Diamondbacks there. Moving on, you have Toronto versus Baltimore. Baltimore ended up winning Game 1. You have Hess versus Law. I lean to the over 10 here. Not a big Hess guy. Law is a relative unknown, but he's not great either. So I'll lean to the over 10. Moving on, you have Mikolas versus Yamamoto in a matchup between the Cardinals and the Marlins. I lean to the Cardinals minus 1.5. Cardinals have looked like a significantly better team in the series, as the Marlins have started to fall back down to earth. After that hot run for about a week or two, they've realized once again they're one of the worst teams in baseball, and the Cardinals have destroyed them relatively easily. Lean to the Cardinals minus 1.5 on that one. Moving on, you have the Astros versus the Brewers with Verlander versus Woodruff. I lean to the Astros here. Money's coming on the Brewers. Astros are down to minus 133. I don't really care. Verlander, for me, is the front runner to win the AL Cy Young, and I think that he should be backed at all costs. I will lean to the Astros there. Next game, you have the Pirates versus the Braves with Keller versus Soroka. The over in that game yesterday was my second lean for play that day, but I didn't end up making it, which is a shame because that ended up cashing easily because Archer gave up roughly 5 home runs. But you have Soroka versus Keller. Keller is terrible. Soroka is very good. I lean to the Braves team total over here and the Braves first 5 team total over. After hitting that many home runs yesterday, these lineups are cooking, and I think that the Braves will continue to play well. How's it going, Terry? Thanks for joining us. Moving on, you have the Twins versus the Mariners with Berrios versus the Mariners. Mariners don't really know his pitching yet. In terms of this game, no leans. There's only 3 lines that are actually up right now with Bookmaker and Just Bet. And at minus 245, I don't see any value on Berrios, but I don't even know who's pitching for Seattle, so I can't really attest to who I think will win that one. I'll pass. Moving on, you have the Tigers versus the Royals with Norris versus Duffy. Money's come in on the Tigers with Norris, as the Royals open up at minus 145, down to roughly minus 135. In terms of this game, I like the Royals winning, but at minus 135, I don't see much value because that involves you backing the Royals. If this line gets to minus 130, which currently is a pinnacle, I would take it at minus 130 and below. I think that the Royals should win this game. I know that Duffy wasn't great in his last start against the Red Sox, but he has terrible numbers against the Red Sox historically, and the Tigers simply can't hit. So I think the Royals will win this game. Moving on, you have the late game between the Padres and the Giants with Lucchesi versus Anderson, and I lean to the Padres, and I will lean to the over 7.5 here. Padres ended up losing yesterday after the Giants had a come from behind win, but I think that Lucchesi is a better pitcher here, and I do like the Padres lineup more than the Giants. So at minus 130, minus 135, give or take, I like the Padres in that spot. Before we conclude today's video, quick reminder of our sponsors. With PointsBet, online sportsbook in New Jersey, a couple of great deals. 1 up to 2 risk-free bets of up to $1,000. So if you end up betting on the Stanley Cup game and you end up losing, you get your money back. And you also have another great deal for the Stanley Cup, where if the team you bet on is up by 2 goals at any point, you win and don't have to worry about sweating out the remainder of the game. But with that being said, the main lean today will be on the Bruins in regulation, which is available at minus 102 on 5 dimes. Not play of the day, but it's my main lean. And with that being said, good luck to all of you and your respective bets on this Wednesday. Bye, everyone.